Hello, brilliant entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 206, which means that all the relevant show notes and links will be available for you over at tashcorbin.com/206. In today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you some signs that your niche is too big, how to refine your niche so that you can scale your business with ease. Let's jump in. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. It is such a common question that people ask me, especially when they are in startup or wanting to scale their online business. Why does my niche have to be so specific and so narrow? Now, you've probably heard some of those lovely catchphrases before, such as the riches are in the niches, or something that I like to say is if you want to scale your reach, you need to nail your niche. And these statements are trying to explain why niching is so important and why it's such an important part of online business in particular, but they don't give you a lot of detail. So I wanted to explain first and foremost why niching is so powerful when you are starting to grow and scale your business online, and then also some signs that potentially your niche is just too big. So number one, I want to clarify that your niche is who. So when I ask people what their niche is, sometimes they'll say to me things like, I'm a kinesiologist, or I help people with social media, or I'm a Facebook specialist. And that might be your service, but your niche is actually the specific group of people you focus on when you are marketing. And the reason why it's important that we understand that when you are marketing part of the definition of niching is that it's not about who you could help with your products and services. Because for a lot of people, their modality or their service or their product could help a really wide array of people. And just because you can help everyone doesn't mean that your marketing should be that broad as well. So your niche is who you focus on when you are marketing your products and services. And the more specific we make that, the more specific and resonant your messaging can be. Because if you try and create messaging that speaks to anyone who could benefit from this, then it is not particularly resonant for anyone in particular. A great example of this would be if you are a coach and you are thinking about whether you want to niche or not. So let's say that you want to create an advertisement for a specific offer that you have. You have a 1-month coaching package that could help anyone who wants to make a big change in their life. So if you want to leave your partner, or you want to change careers, or you want to go on a health kick, or you want to start a business, you've got all these changes that you want to make, or that you could make and that you could help people with. And so you decide you want to craft an offer that helps anyone with any kind of change. So let's say that knowing that this is the type of work that you want to do, you craft 2 ads. One says, do you want to make a big change in your life? Well, I can help you with that. Transition coaching or change coaching or whatever you like to label it. This is how it can help you with that. And then you craft another offer that says, are you a woman who wants to change careers, but you're worried that you're just jumping from one bad job to another, and you want to make sure that the career change that you embark upon, you do it wholeheartedly and you really maximize the results that you get in terms of finding the right next step for you, right? So you've got these 2 offers. Now, you might assume that a woman who is wanting to change careers would see both ads and resonate with both, and both would work equally well for her because she fits in the broad category of wanting to change, and she also fits the very specific category of wanting to change careers. But the specific ad is the one that's actually going to stop and grab her attention, because it's speaking to a specific experience. Now, I want you to put yourself in that person's shoes. You see 2 separate ads that look like they're from 2 separate providers. One says, I can help you with any change you want to make. And another says, you want to change careers, but you're worried you're making the wrong decision, or maybe you're not going to nail it, or maybe you're just jumping from the frying pan into the fire. I'm going to help you make sure that you really make the career change you want to. Which ad would you be most drawn to? It's the one that's hyper specific. Not only is that the one that you're most drawn to, but think about it from a provider perspective and a pricing perspective. If you see generalist coaching offered versus someone who really specifies in working with people changing their careers, who would you pay more to work with? You would pay more to work with the specialist. And this is where niching is so powerful, because by trying to speak to everyone, you deeply resonate with no one. And the clients that you do get see you as a generalist, and therefore it's more difficult to charge premium prices and be seen as an expert in the market. Even if you are the best coach in the whole wide world, you will not be able to charge as much as someone who's starting out as a coach but decides to go really specific. And so it's really powerful, not only for your marketing, but also for your business growth and your business model and the way that you are seen and perceived online and all sorts of different parts of your marketing. So what are some of the signs that maybe your niche is too broad? Number one is when you try to describe your niche, you use the words or maybe, or might. You also might find yourself putting some slashes in there. So I have a ban on slashes when we do any niching work in my programs. And it's a little bit of a joke because people try and find the sneakiest ways to sneak an or a maybe or a might or a slash in there. But if you say, it's men or women, or maybe they're going through this, or they might be going through that, that's not very specific, powerful niching. So even just by paying attention to the way that you describe your niche, helps you to see, am I really specific and clear, or am I still just a bit unsure and trying to hedge my bets here? Number two is when I ask the question, what's your niche? You can't actually specify it quickly and easily. So you should be able to sum up your niche in 5 key decisions. And I'm going to give you those 5 key decisions in this podcast episode. But if you are asked what is your niche and you either give one broad sweeping statement like busy mums, all mum's busy, that's not a niche. Or you end up trying to spend 30, 40 seconds, a few minutes trying to explain it, then chances are you aren't 100% clear and you don't have a specific enough niche. Number 3 is you try and use weird demographics to try and narrow it down because you're not willing to narrow down in the important decisions. So a lot of people, when they are explaining their niche to me, will say things like, it's women aged between 35 and 42. And I'm like, 35 and 42, that's hyper specific. Like, why are you being so specific? And they're like, well, I need to niche. So I thought I had to choose a really specific age range. But here's the thing. Age range isn't a big influencer on the way that you market your products and services. Remember, your niche is who you focus on when you're marketing your products and services. If it's not relevant, then don't include it as a demographic. Other things people do is they're like, she does yoga every day. And I was like, oh, okay, why is that an important part of your niching? And they're like, oh, well, it's not. I just, had to make up this picture of this person. So I made up that she does yoga every day. So if you're using weird niching descriptors that actually aren't relevant to you, then I would say your niche isn't specific enough. So you're trying to niche through demographics only. I recommend that you niche through 3 layers. So there's the demographic layer, and there's 2 important decisions you need to make in demographics. Women or men, do they work for themselves, work for someone else, or they're not working? So they're the 2 demographic decisions that impact your marketing, that impact your decisions about how you go out and promote your services and your messaging really deeply as well. And so they're the important demographic decisions. The other demographic decisions, unless they're relevant to your services, aren't necessarily relevant. So I wouldn't worry about them. The second layer of niching is psychographics. So that is things like their goals and dreams, their personality traits, those types of things. And then the third layer is a word that I totally made up, which is sensographics. So what are their 5 senses telling them? What is their lived experience that says, this is something I need to change and I need help to change it? So I've got 5 key questions or decisions that you need to make about your niching that address those 3 layers in only the critical spaces where you need to. It makes niching so much easier. So I will get to that at the end of this podcast episode. The fourth sign that your niche is too broad is that when you are sharing things on social media, you are not getting an, oh my goodness, yes, that is exactly what's going on for me from your ideal clients. You might not have experienced that feeling when people say to you, I feel like you were picking my windows last night. That's the type of experience you want to create for people. Not the creepy, oh my gosh, were you picking my windows last night? But the, oh my gosh, you know me better than I know myself because that's exactly what I said to my best friend yesterday. That kind of feeling is totally possible when you have a really specific niche. And that kind of feeling tells people you are the expert who is best to help me because you deeply understand exactly what I'm going through right now. That is the power of niching. So when I'm working with people and they, tell me they've got an issue with their marketing or their offers aren't selling or they don't know how to craft offers or they don't know how to talk about their work or they're struggling with their messaging, the first place I go is niche. So if you are experiencing any issues with your messaging, your offers, the way that you market, getting more reach, getting better conversions, number one, start with reviewing your niche and just checking it's specific enough because chances are it's not, and that's what's causing all of the issues at the other layers of your business. So here are my two most important, powerful tips if you think your niche might not be specific enough to make sure that you are getting hyper clear about your niche. Number one is you don't have to tell people what your niche is publicly. Your niche is what then determines your messaging and your offers. That is where you create resonance. So if I see an ad that says, are you a woman who's aged in her late 30s and lives in such and such and has her own business and blah, blah, blah. It's not like a bunch of demographics that I read and then magically I think that you understand me. It's actually crafting messaging and offers through the lens of knowing what that specific niche is that you're speaking to that creates something that deeply resonates. So even though I'm going to tell you 5 decisions that you need to make, I'm not saying you need to now go out and tell everyone, I only work with people who meet these 5 criteria. What I'm saying is develop your messaging and your offers once you've made those decisions to speak directly to those people and they will resonate more effectively. So that's tip number 1. And then tip number 2 is the 5 key decisions that you need to make. Decision number 1 is gender. And this can be contentious for people because they're like, I can help men and I can help women. But remember, your niche is who you focus on when you are marketing. And the way you market to men is very different to the way that you market to women. Now, just a little side note here, in relation, I am an intersectional feminist. So in relation to gender identity, it doesn't necessarily need to be born as a man or born as a woman. So when I am identifying my niche, it's people who resonate with feeling mostly female or mostly women or non-binary. So that is my descriptor. And I use women with an X as a way of clarifying that for myself. And I don't necessarily go out and share that publicly, but that is my descriptor. So I'm not saying that you need to go out immediately and say, I work with women or I work with men. I just want you to make the decision. When you are marketing, are you going to be focused on niching to men or niching to women? And if you niche to women and a man comes along and says, can you help me too? And you want to work with him, you can. But that doesn't mean you then need to re-broaden your niche just in case some men might want to work with you. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the first decision, is gender. Decision number 2 is job status. And again, this is critical in your demographics because of how it frames your messaging and your marketing. So the job status decisions you would want to make is, does this person have their own business, so entrepreneur or their own business or work for themselves, or do they work for someone else, they're in a job, or are they not working? Either they're retired or on maternity leave or unemployed, right? So you need to make a decision of one of those 3 things: working for themselves, working for someone else, or not working. So that's the second important decision. The third important decision is trait. And this is a long-lasting, always there, permanent personality trait. Now, the reason why this one is important is because you want to create a business and create marketing and messaging that attracts the kind of people you want to hang out with and that you want to help. So that trait might be extroverts or life of the party or loud, or it could be introverts or book lovers, those real reader types. or it could be people who are hyper generous, or it could be people who are deeply creative, people who are just the colorful people, like those kinds of things. It could be that they're deeply spiritual, they're deep thinkers, or it might be that they're, they surround themselves with hundreds of people. So those types of things. So think about like, what is the kind of people, what is the kind of trait that makes someone that you like hanging out with? And it doesn't necessarily need to be related to your business. So for example, if you're a parenting coach, you could choose a personality trait of they're a raging extrovert. It doesn't need to be like specific to the work that you do. Same with, you might sell eco-friendly products. They don't have to already be eco-conscious. They could be deeply spiritual, and that makes you really want to hang out with them. And it also may make them more open to your messaging. So for my trait that I chose for my niche, it's actually really generous, like people who give almost to a fault, right? Those really generous giver kind of people. Now, I don't necessarily go out there and put it in my messaging, say, I work with the givers of the world. But when I craft my messaging and my offers, and when I think about the types of podcast episodes to create and the type of language that I use when I'm talking about the products and services that I have to offer, I really want to speak to those people who are in that space, those real giving type people. And that means that the majority of people who come to work with me are in that space. Not because I said you have to be a giver to work with me, but because my messaging really resonates with those types of people. And so it means that it's a really great space to hang out in when you join my programs. And everyone that I work with, I absolutely love and adore them because, one, they fit the other decisions that I've made. And so it's really easy for me to help and serve them. But two, because we're all these beautiful givers, it's just this really gorgeous, connected, community-driven space, and it makes my business a joy. So that's number 3 is trait. So we've got gender, job status, and trait. Now, the next one is their priority goal that you can help them to achieve. And I won't go too much into detail about like you can't change people's priorities and all sorts of things like that. But I will say this. If your ideal client has got this number 1 priority goal that they're trying to achieve, and you can help them achieve that and so much more, stop focusing on the so much more part of your messaging and focus on the core thing that's important to them. So for my ideal clients, they want more clients, right? They want to make more sales. Yes, their business is more heart-centered and more aligned, and marketing is easier and all of those sorts of things. But at the core of why they want to work with me is because they want their business to be more successful. They want more paying clients. They want to serve more people. So if I was to say like, create your business with purpose and, sales that doesn't feel sleazy and all those sorts of things without getting to the point of, and you make more money, you get more clients, then I'm just speaking around the periphery. I'm not getting to the core heart priority that is the one thing that my ideal client is looking for. So yes, you can have lots of fringe benefits of working with you, but ultimately you need to get to the core of, for your ideal client, in their words, what is their priority goal that you can help them to achieve? And if their priority goal is to lose weight and you're talking about get more energy, you are speaking at the periphery. If their priority goal is make sales online, have a really simple, easy to use website, and you're talking about user experience and SEO, you're not getting to the point of what they want. Yeah. So there's a difference between what your ideal client's goal is, what their top priority goal is in their words, and what you can see is what they really need and the bigger picture and all of those sorts of things. So when it comes to making your niche decision, I want you to make that decision number 4 based on what they say is their core priority goal that you could help them to achieve. So that's number 4. And then number 5 is, why don't they have it yet? So for my ideal client, they want to be making more sales online. They really, really want to be serving more people, but there's so many things that they think that they need to do that it feels like marketing is too hard. So see how simple that is? See how straightforward that is? So it might be your ideal client wants to lose weight, but they can't stick with any plan that they ever pick up. Or your ideal client wants to have a really easy to use, simple website, but they don't have the budget to pay for a fancy pants web developer, or it might be that your ideal client wants to grow their reach on Facebook, but they think that they need to have a $10,000 a month Facebook ads budget, and so they're just waiting till they have the budget. Or it might be that your ideal client wants to feel more aligned with their soul's purpose, right? Maybe that is their priority. It's like, I'm not living a life of purpose right now. I want to live a life of purpose, but they don't know how to get clearer without going overseas and traveling for 6 months, right? Or whatever it might be. So you can see how the priority goal and why they haven't achieved it yet are so intertwined, right? It's they want this, but this. Now, the one thing I will say when you're talking about the challenge is do not say, but they don't know where to start. Because if you are focused on trying to attract people who haven't even bothered to Google it yet, then you are going to attract nightmare clients. So really think about, why is she saying she can't get it? Why is she saying she hasn't achieved it? Why is she saying she's not there yet? Because when you really deeply analyze that conversation and that part of your niching decision, that is where the gold is. That challenge and the priority goal and the why they haven't achieved it yet, or the challenge that they're facing in achieving it, that is really where the juicy niching gold lies. Okay, so here are the 5 decisions again. Gender, job status, personality trait, priority goal, why they haven't got it yet. So you can see when you make those 5 core decisions for your niche, 1, you're hyper specific. So you deal with all of that, like your niche is too big stuff, because you really do have to focus down. 2, you've covered all 3 layers of niching: demographics, psychographics, and sensographics. And 3, imagine how much easier it would be for you to craft resonant messaging and offers that convert when you made those 5 decisions. If you are finding yourself in niche resistance, just trust me, it's just for now, it's not forever. Even just try and experiment for a couple of months. What if for just a couple of months, all of the things that I put together and I put out there are focused on this specific niche? Let's just see what happens. Trust me, it is so much easier and your business grows so much faster. So if you would like to, number 1, review that and make some more decisions about your niching so that you really are 100% clear. And 2, learn how to then translate that into resonant messaging and offers. I have a super juicy offer for you, and that is my Fast Track Your Startup training. Even if you've been in business for a while, if you are still not making those consistent sales, you're struggling to articulate what it is that you do, or you're struggling to craft offers that really resonate with people, I want you to go and watch this training so you can see where you might have gaps in the foundations of your business and get those plugged so that you can fast track the sales and the income that you're bringing in your business. Go to the show notes to grab the link over at tashcorbin.com/206. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.